right. That was episode 23 in the books of Once in the Rare Wild Defrag.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think we have anything to talk about tonight, though, guys.
Yeah, not really much. Nothing much happened.
I'd like to ask a question.
Okay.
So we've done all these rooms and all these levels and dungeons. We've been going around, and apart from our own replacements, we don't run into a lot of other divers. And considering how deadly these rooms are, I'm surprised at the scenes where like there's been a bunch of divers, you know, like hanging out at the bell, and you know when everything bad happened and they all fled the bell, and then went back later. Like, where the hell are they? What are they doing? There's like some party somewhere, some cool room where they all end up and they have the hookahs you mentioned. And,
we're about to meet every single one of them in this mountain.
Oh my God. That would be freaky, man. If you like opened up a epic scale room and then all the divers are just kind of staring at a television monitor or something like that.
Like
you might be spelling the exact thing that's about to occur to us, which is some sort of psychic paralysis.
like in one of those old OTB places. Have you ever been to one of those where they just have like the TV screens and all these people are just like standing around watching the TV and the horses are racing up there. Nobody's talking. Nobody's doing anything. Every once in a while they're like cheer or something.
Oh, that makes sense. That's where all the divers are.
You know,
the OTB track. And
we are kind of at the tail end of like that whole like thing with the troubleshooters like roaming the halls, like shooting everybody. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know. Now, my big question is now that we found Monarch, like, what are we going to do about it? It's a little bit bigger than just like going over and just kicking it and making it not work anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, we got to look for the off switch and just like,
boop.
I have some ideas.
Well, let's hear them. That's what we're here for.
Oh, I couldn't tell you now. That would take all the fun out of it.
Elvis making an appearance.
No, I don't. I'm not really sure.
I mean, the kind of fun that got Thulsa killed?
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm not really sure what.
Killed by puke.
I'm not sure what, if any form of interfacing with the computer we will be able to do, because I think it's going to be so abstracted from human sort of engineering. But if we could do that, it would be very interesting to plug my duplicate's logic core into it.
Yeah, I mean,
that could be extremely bad, right?
It's not my head. It's my other head.
Oh, I thought you meant the little ball of wires that like doubles its processing power.
No.
I'm saying taking my logic core from the other version of my body, which is a perfect duplicate of my mind, and
you think?
I mean, right? But I'm just curious what that would result in. You know what I mean?
Well, I will say this: like the one thing that is very consistent with Monarch is that we are infinitely ignorable, right?
Yes.
Like if we do something annoying, he'll like dispatch some antibodies to kill us, right? But that's about it. We're not worth talking to. We're not worth paying attention to. You know, the feeling that I get, like the dynamic that seems to be set up is infinite versus us, right? Like it like doubling infinite is nothing. Like it wouldn't care about the ball or whatever because its processing power is already infinite. If you do twice infinity, it's still infinity. Right.
Well, it feels like it made it and then it sent it out into the wild. So it obviously didn't care about it. But you do bring up a really important point. We're like fools if we think this room is not defended in some really awful way. Right. Like,
well, if there's no visible defense, the easiest conclusion to draw is that any sort of interfacing with it will, in its infinity, we're interacting with like a black hole in a sense, right? Would impact us in a far greater way than we could ever hope to impact it. So I don't know, what productive thing we could do here, really, other than go back to that nuke room and set it off, I guess. But I mean, that's why I chimed into Monarch, because I had a sneaky suspicion this is where we were going to end up in that tunnel. Yeah. I know Monarch never responds, but I thought if there's any situation in which they would, it would be feeling threatened. And clearly this is not, as of yet, right, pinged that threat. And so the question is Monarch aware of us being here and unworried, or is there some reason beyond our comprehension that this is the one place that Monarch can't monitor, which is within their own mind? You know what I mean?
I was kind of thinking that, and I only say that because, the room in which David takes apart Hal, Hal can't do anything at that point.
But this was not defended at all. I mean, it's
weird. Well, yeah. I mean, the other
room after room of hazard and hazard and hazard. Like, we've passed the defenses.
Killed
now,
us.
there could be more, obviously.
I think you guys are being naive there. Silas was like, like the whole time that we were like, we're going down there, man. Like, I think we're probably in extreme danger in this room for sure.
Yeah. I also think, I mean, this is without spinning out into a really long spiel. I postulated this on our private Discord, but I'm of the mind currently that the deep itself is basically one giant spatial metaphor for like Freudian's iceberg down to like the shape.
Sure.
And then we've been engaging with even spatially how like the conscious, subconscious, et cetera, is oriented within that sort of like diagram. Kind of makes sense in the way that the floors of this are which is neither here nor there. All other than to say that like part of what that came from was John intimating that all of the non-Monarch characters that we were interested in had a name that started with M. Silas is not one of them, but it got me thinking, if the deep is itself in a sense a mind, right? And there's all of the like expressions of its space are aspects of a mind interacting with itself, though the core is kind of redundant in that way. It's possible that Silas and everything else we're interacting with are themselves fragmentations of Monarch, right? Not separate consciousnesses, et cetera. Now, why would Silas want to deviate from Monarch? I don't know if that's actually something Silas would want, but Silas's eagerness for us to go in here is very interesting if we look at it through the prism of that's Monarch. You know what I mean? Like,
also, like,
there's no way there's multiple AIs running inside this. System.
That's what I'm saying. This is all fragments of a consciousness,
Yeah, that's
exactly.
that Freudian model. And right, like it's interesting, all these M's and then S with Silas as the superego. The superego is all about control, right?
Yes.
And about cleanliness and cleaning up the messes.
Yes.
Right.
100%.
Very interesting. Like doesn't do well with chaos and tries to control. As soon as things got kind of messy, is like shut down. Right. Yes. It's interesting. It is really. I'm curious. Like with my new boy here, one of the things that we've just brought into Monarch's mind is an industrial cutting laser that does 1d100 worth of damage.
Wow.
And what kind
That's
of
a bunch of damage.
That's a bunch of damage right there. What kind of response, even knowing that kind of thing is in proximity of its core, is going to do? This isn't like, just a few D10 or whatever.
Right.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
I mean,
what are the sort of? Go ahead, Mike.
Go ahead. You go ahead, David. I was going to say, being able to sever some of these like cable clusters around, like if we can find one that's like a power cable, or even that, say we turn off all of its ability to influence anything on like an entire level by cutting like a giant like cable core.
Yeah.
Like that could actually get it really angry, I would think.
I don't know how well it's detailed, but of course, a computer system of this scale in reality, like let's just imagine such a thing could exist. You would have, multiple processors and, heat sinks and connectors and power sources and redundancies. I wouldn't build a space station with an AI core that didn't have redundancies. But at some point, there's a central single circuit that is critical, and so I think the issue would be, can we find something that, like, if you just start shooting a laser around the walls, you probably would, kill some memory, and maybe Silas would start to slur or whatever. But like somewhere there's the thing that if we can get to it, we can cut it.
But
Well,
if we
do
had a
wanna point
guy
out-
who,
oh, good.
yeah, I just said, if we happen to have a guy like the same guy with the laser cutter whose expertise is in industrial equipment, hacking, and computers, right? Like if anybody would know like where to aim that in the computer server room, I think it would be this guy.
Right. There is something to be said for the fact that no one has done this yet. Now, not to say that anyone's as great as us, right? But that there might be a significant incentive not to fuck with Monarch with the scope of its brain here. And like, if we're talking about like a lobotomy of sorts, right? You can extrapolate a number of consequences immediate to us and to the universe of what indelicate procedure would do. So for instance, we sever its like emotional regulation and every sleeper agent in the world starts killing everyone around them. Right? Because this is a mind we're interacting with. We're dealing with an emotional sort of like map here. And what we interact with will change the behavioral pattern of the mind. Right. And that could have really negative consequences in the universe, never mind just us blowing up or something more crude. Right? I don't know if you want to fuck with that. I mean, it's fun to, so we probably should, right? But that's the thing is, the implications there are pretty incredible.
We know its motivations are not beneficial to humankind, right? Like we can have all the discussions about whether the humans themselves are worthy of being saved and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But in the general scheme of things, it's replacing people with constructs of its own. And we know from the interacting with that one room that he basically activates them and then they become hyper like allegiant to him. Sure. I'm using him obviously, but it's an it, you know, like, so whatever it's planning, which we might not be able to comprehend entirely, probably not beneficial from a human perspective as being like something we want to have happen.
Well, I think it would be folly to ascribe necessarily like a moral condition to that, which is to say that I don't know that I read even the infiltrators as we see them through the lens that we experience it as humans as a behavior that is, if this infinitely large mind is what it is, seen even or considered as an aggression versus just a propagation impulse. Sure. I want to project my mind as far as I can in as many directions as I can. And this is an organic way to do that. And I have no feelings about it on a like malice scale, right?
I think that's much more likely, honestly, because unless there's something about the Mothership universe level of technology that we don't know, there is zero chance that Monarch has a way to faster than light communicate with androids and other planets. They're on their own. He has propagated. He sent them out into the universe. He might be able to communicate with them, you know, like by sending a message. Yeah, that's got to travel at the same rate as anybody else's message. There's no like, if we kill the brain, it just means that the android out there just continues to do its thing.
Yeah, one of the things that's interesting to me, because you know, with Thulsa passing, see ya Thulsa. That's interesting, like the way that I've been thinking about this, and it's neat to make kind of a sudden shift. For a long time, she was definitely kind of, you know, if anything, kind of on his side, right? She saw Monarch as this being who just wants to exist. There's plenty of space out there in the universe for, you know, infinite numbers of copies of people to go do whatever. The universe is a big place. Knock yourself out. Fill it up with as many Thulsas as you want, whatever. But what changed for her, right, is the kind of plot or insidiousness that was revealed with this targeting of the elite, right? It wasn't, because if it was just Monarch's goal to send out and propagate itself like ants, you know, like making new colonies and like, you know, being everywhere and like participating, then it wouldn't bother with duplicating David Hasselhoff and the cast of Baywatch, right? It would just be like regular folks. Just send out a bunch of people. That would never raise any alarm bells. You'd be able to spread out so much faster and farther that way. But when you
it doesn't know how to make unique individuals. It only knows how to copy things.
Yes. I think a key counterpoint to that, because I think it's a really good thought process, Matt, but you could also say that like in the same way that we can't attribute a moral sort of vector here, We know that it's duplicating anyone who walks into this place, right? A famous figure lacking the possibility that they literally came to the deep is someone who is broadcast and is known to Monarch because they are a famous figure. And so the possibility for Monarch to build a model of that person because they are a public figure is higher. I don't know if that the infiltration is occurring because they're elite or because the elite have a larger reach. Monarch has a larger awareness of them. I will say as a quick tangent, I do think it's interesting. Valid. Yeah. And I think and it may be, right? Again, it's like ascribing human intentions to a god, right? This very like Nietzschean, I mean, down to the inverted mountain is very like thus spake Zarathustra, right? Like climbing the mountain and transcending, humanity and killing God is the metaphor they use. But like, I don't know. I'm going with this. I was saying, like, what does it mean to kill Monarch, the god of this?
But here's the thing where we can kind of assign some moral, thing on it. The androids or the infiltrators aren't just showing up at Arnold Schwarzenegger's house, right? They're assumingly showing up at Arnold Schwarzenegger's house, killing him, killing any witnesses, and then taking his place, right? And yes, he can probably get Arnold Schwarzenegger's pattern because he's on movies and TV and interviews and et cetera, et cetera. But on the flip side, he's also an influential figure. Yeah. So there is a method to the madness there. But now the one thing that we could actually ask, hold on a sec. The one thing we could actually go is like, what if Monarch is doing this because it sees humanity as like a struggle bus and needs fucking help and is like, I'm going to put guys in place so that we can actually get this human species going in the right direction, what it views as the right direction.
Sure.
That's where the moral compass thing breaks down again. Like, why is it trying to get this influence?
Well, remember, he did copy Dixon and did not try to eliminate Dixon. He just tried to sneak off the station as a perfectly ordinary Teamster heading back to civilization.
But there's no guarantee that once he got Dixon off the station that you wouldn't have been eliminated.
Yeah, but again, I think
because we've already had this conversation about the infinite power of Monarch. If he wanted to specifically eliminate me, like I've made a copy of Dixon, he's going off to do his mission. I must now get rid of the original. I wouldn't have survived any longer than I did. Like he'd have gotten me right away.
Yeah, and there's a virus-like aspect to this where even if it is killing Arnold Schwarzenegger in the framework, it's
not that we want that to happen.
I was going to say we love you, Arnie.
No,
we love you, Arnold.
But my point is just that like,
why are you mad at me?
Is the sleeper impulse like terminate, right? Or is it there's a redundancy and it's an organic thing to become or replace or sort of merge in some sense, and almost like a cellular sense, right? And that requires the termination of one for the other to exist. I don't know.
I don't mean to cut us off, but it's late and my dog is starting to get a little anxious.
Aww.
It's because of the cat, isn't it? Yeah. He saw my cat. He's freaking out.
Anyways, good discussion, but we do have to cut it short.
All right.
We'll
just have to find out next week what happens.
Exactly. All right. Everyone have a good night. Take care.
All right.
Good
See
night.
you. Thanks, guys. Bye.